Hi everyone and welcome to another flute lesson. Today we're going to revise what we've done last week. So that was the old chickwagon, and we're going to learn a new piece. Not a new note, but just a new piece. And then at the end we're going to talk about what we're going to do next week, as it's your progress review. So we're going to be doing a little assessment just to see how you're getting on. But it's nothing to be worried about. It's just for you to think about your own playing as well, and to see what you could improve on and what you're doing really well. So let's start by doing our stretches. So first one. Remember to take a deep breath. And again. Lovely. Try not to lift your shoulders when you do that. And last time. Fantastic. And that one now. Supporting the weight of your arm. There we are. Lovely. Great. And again. You might feel that one arm behaves in a different way, doesn't it, than the other. That's totally normal. And last one. Always inhaling when you're doing the stretch. Fantastic. Roll your shoulders back. Very good. And forward. Great. And now, sorry, there we go. And back to the middle, and down again, and around, back to the middle, down, back to the middle, and last time. Oh, lovely. Great. And now stretch your hands and fingers. There we go. And wrists. And fidgety fingers. Fantastic. Fantastic. I also want to do a little breathing exercise, and I want to start including it as well in our warm-ups. Now that you're getting better and better at breathing and playing your flute. So what I would like you to do is to just put your hands on your waist like that, and you're going to take a deep breath. 4 beats to breathe in, okay, and then you're going to hold that breath for 4 more beats, and then you're going to let it out for 8 beats. So when you let it out, I want you to pretend you're playing the flute. So you're going, okay. Now, 2 really important things. When you're breathing in, make sure that your throat is completely relaxed. Okay, so the shape that I think when I'm taking a relaxed breath is the shape that you have when you yawn. So if you do, there we go. So that's the shape that you should have, okay, when you're breathing in. And I know, you won't always be able to do this, but if at least you're aware of this is what should be happening, that'd be great. And then the other thing is that when you're breathing in, first of all, try not to raise your shoulders when you're breathing in, and think of breathing in really deeply. So sending the air really deep onto your tummy, okay? And then breathe to your chest. So it should be tummy first and then chest. Okay, so let's give it a go. So 4 beats to breathe in, then hold it for 4, and then let it out for 8. Okay, here we go. With me, here we go. Hold it, 2, 3, 4, and now out. 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. Good job. Let's do it one more time, exactly the same thing. Here we go. In for 4. In for 4. And now out for 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. Can we just try the same thing but letting it out for 10 beats? Okay, here we go. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good. So if it helps, use the straw just to create the same shape, and you could even do the exercise with the straw, which would be great. Fantastic. Now let's go through. First of all, let's do a little bit of call and response. So you should have your flute, you should have your Vamoosh book, and you should have a pencil. So let's put our flutes together. We're not going to do head join just now. So line your flute up like that, hold with the keys, and then the foot joint as well. Fantastic. And we're going to do some call and response just using the note B. Okay? And I'm going to put a drum loop. Note B. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good, well done. So always be, when we do the call and response, always be ready to play from the very beginning. So you see me putting my flute up, and you should be doing the same as well. Fantastic. Now let's go through what we've done last week. So we worked on the old chick wagon, and I would like us to play it through just once, and then we're going to work on the next piece. Okay, so from the beginning we'll start on an A. So A is 2 fingers. Let's just play 2 beats on an A and then 2 beats on a B. Okay, so starting with 2 fingers and then 1 finger. Let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. Now it's all fresh in your minds again. So let's try and play the old chick wagon. Starts on the A. Please be ready with an A. Just giving you a little bit of time because these things tend to be a little bit rushed. So make sure you've got the A ready. So 2 fingers, 1, 2. Make sure you leave a gap between first and second fingers, and then your thumb on the long key, pinky. Always remember the pinky. It feels like it's not doing anything, but it really is. Okay, it's really important that you keep your pinky there, and then your thumb under your right hand index finger. Fantastic. So we start on A, and we have A's and B's. Right, here we go from the beginning. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Now, let's move on and let's start looking at the next piece. There we are. So, this new piece is called Djembe Jam, and it's piece number, just bear with me, number 4 on your Vamoosh book. Okay, piece number 4. It's a really, really fun piece to play. I'm sure you'll enjoy it as well. Now, we've got something new. It's not a new note, but it's a new rhythm. So it's these two notes here. These two note values, I'm sorry. So these are, we call them TT. So one of them, just on its own, it's T, but you don't see that very often for now. Okay, so you will see a lot of these. These are 2 T's joined together at the top. Okay, so each one of these notes is half a beat, and when you put them together, obviously it becomes 1 beat. Now the other one we need to learn about is this one, and this is a rest, so it's a silence, and in Kadai we're just going to say, in fact we're not going to say it, we're going to whisper ma, so okay. I'm just going to show you how to do the first 2 lines, alright, so I'm just going to demonstrate it. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, T, T, ta, ta, T, T, ta, T, 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 T. Great, so the only time that you say the rest, so the ma, is when you sing the Kadai, when you're saying the notes, and when you say in mime, because for the rest of it, when you're playing, obviously you don't need to say anything, you just don't make a sound in that moment. But it's important to acknowledge that there is a rest, so that's why we have a sound for it, okay? So every time we have a rest, when we're doing the Kadai, we're going to whisper it, so we don't make too much noise on that, and you get used to having a silent beat. Fantastic. So what else do we need to know? Oh yes, you've probably seen these F's, and because we had it in the previous piece as well, and in the other one. So this stands for forte. So forte is a word for loud. So basically you have to play the piece quite loud. At this stage, I just want you to focus on the quality of your sound. So playing it with a really full sound, really confidently, that will give it a forte feeling, if you'd like. Fantastic. Let's give it a go. So we're going to go through the practice routine, Kadai first, and then all the other steps. Let's start with Kadai. So I'll point on the screen. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. T, T, ta, ta, T, T, ta, T, 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 ta, ta, T, 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 T. Fantastic. We're going to do that one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. T, T, ta, ta, T, T, ta, T, 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 ta, ta, T, 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 T. Fantastic, well done. Now we're going to say the note names with this. So as we had with the Old Chick Wagon, we only have B's and A's, so those are the 2 different notes, which is great. It's just getting those notes with the right rhythm, isn't it? So let's start from the beginning all the way through, saying the note names and obviously saying it in the right rhythm that we've done already. So it should be all right. Here we go. And don't forget the rests. 1, 2, 3, 4. B, 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 A, B, 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 A, A, B, 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 A, B, B, A, B, 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 B. Very good. Just to remind you, if you're unsure about the notes, so the first note sits on the third line. So if we go to our note guide down here, this is the second line and it's a G, so we need to go up 2 steps. So the next step will be an A, so that's on the space, and then the next will be a B, which is on the third line. So the very first note is a B, and we have B, B, because it's still on the third line, although it's written differently, but it's still a B, and then we have an A. Okay? So next step will be say and mime on our flute. So make sure you have your flute ready and have it resting on your shoulder, and make sure that you have your B ready. Okay, so 1 finger, thumb, pinky, and that's it. Right, let's give it a go. A 1, a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. B, 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 A, B, 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 A, B, 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 A, B, B, A, B, 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 B. Very, very good. If you've managed to do that, and to be honest, saying the rest out loud is so much harder than not saying them. So if you've managed to do that, I promise you that's the hardest step. Okay, so now let's try and play it, and you'll see how nice it sounds. Okay, here we go. So be ready for a B. Flute up. If you want to try playing the B, do that now. Okay, here we go. Just make sure that you have your A finger ready just above the key. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, well done. It's getting a little bit trickier with the rhythm, but it's really fun once you can do it. It's really good. I was saying the rests out loud still, so just so that you had the beat going through, but you don't have to say them out loud when you're playing. Very, very good. Can we try and do that one more time? Just to give you another chance to practice it. So one more time at this speed, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. Now, I would like us to try and play it with the backing track. The backing track goes a lot faster, but it's really fun. So if you feel like it's a bit too much, that's absolutely fine. Just practice a few more times at a slower speed, and then gradually you can start speeding it up a little bit. So let's just give it a go. Have your flutes ready to go, like that. Flutes to your mouth. And let's give it a go. fantastic. Well done. It's a lot trickier when it's faster. So just take your time, practice it to the slower speed. That's absolutely fine. Now, one thing that I need to mention, because this piece is quite fast and it starts requiring a lot of clarity when you're tonguing. So you have to be really, really clear. Now, when you're tonguing, and I hope you're all trying to do it, you need to think of using the tip and only the tip of your tongue. Okay, so with your straw, if you go I hope you can hear that. So the tip of my tongue hits the back of my teeth, of my top teeth. Okay, so like that. And one way for you to see if you're doing the right thing is when you say tip, that's exactly the spot where it should be. Okay, so yeah, just make sure you're using the very, very tip of your tongue and not the whole tongue, because that slows things down quite a lot. Fantastic. Now I want to show you something that we're going to be doing next week, and this is it. So next week we're going to be doing a little assessment, and it's nothing for you to worry about. It's just for everyone to see what you're up to and what needs to be, what's going really well and what needs to be a little bit improved, perhaps. So there are three categories that we look at when we're assessing a flute student. So accuracy is the first one, and you can see that here. What is accuracy? So accuracy is correct notes, if you're playing the correct notes, and the correct rhythm. Okay, so the practice routine that we do, that really helps with accuracy, because you're getting everything in place from the beginning. Now the next category is interpretation, and that includes tonguing, for instance, which goes under articulation. So tonguing will be here, and also if you stop too much, or if you hesitate and things like that. So fluency is under that category as well. Also, what I've just spoken about when I spoke about playing the piece loudly, that falls under dynamics. So dynamics is how loud and how soft you play a piece. So the composer, the person who writes the piece, makes little asks you to play in a certain way with little directions on the music, and you have to do them. So that's interpretation. And then technique means the quality of the sound, the posture, how you're holding your flute on the shore, so that the position, the shape of your mouth when you're playing the flute. So that's all under technique. Okay, now I know it looks very confusing, but it's not, and you'll see. We've got different levels of difficulty. So at the moment, we're working on our first level, which is our B1, which is great. So any piece between Tootie Toot Song and Pineapples Are Juicy. So Pineapples Are Juicy is the next piece in the Vamoosh book. So we're on this category here, okay? Say you play all the correct notes, all the correct rhythms, obviously you're going to get a 3. Now if you make a few mistakes, that's absolutely fine, and you're probably getting a 2 for accuracy. And then you've got sometimes, and you've got not accurate, okay? And then for interpretation, same thing, it's out of 3. So if you're tonguing everything, and if you're playing with a really full sound, and if you didn't stop, you're going to get a 3, okay? So, and then technique, same thing, out of 3. So if you're playing it with a really clear tone, with a really clear sound, you're going to get a 3. If you're holding your flute up parallel to the floor, you're going to get a 3, okay? So these are the things I want you to think about when you practice this week. I want you to think about, am I playing, just ask yourself if you're playing the right notes, the right rhythm, if you're stopping, or if you're carrying on and playing it really fluently. If you're tonguing all the way through, if you're making a nice full sound, if you're looking like if your posture is good and you're holding your flute up and all that. So these are the things that I want you to think about when you do your homework. So this week I want you to practice Djembe Jam, and that's going to be the piece that you're going to be assessed on next week. So you've got everything you need. And one thing that I should say, even if you're not making the greatest sound on the flute yet, that's absolutely fine, because you might say you get a 1 for sound, for technique, okay? You could still get a 3 for interpretation if you're tonguing everything and if you're not stopping, for instance. And you could get a 3 for accuracy. So don't feel like, oh, there's no point in doing this, because absolutely there is. You can get a really good mark even if you're not making the nicest sound in the world. That's absolutely fine, and that will come, okay? I think that's it. So next week, progress review, and yeah, make sure you practice your Djembe Jam, and of course you can always practice the other pieces as well, just to just warm up, or just to have a bit of fun. And don't worry about the speed too much. It's okay if it's still on the slow side. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure you're making a nice sound, and that's it. Right, I will see you next week.